we had Elon Musk in the Oval Office overshadowing the elected president of the United States. We also had the elected president of the United States overshadowing the peace process in Ukraine by essentially calling Putin and saying that Ukraine's going to start negotiations with all these preconditions that Putin wants. So just essentially means that Ukraine is not likely to agree to such a one-sided peace deal. And then you have the whole constitutional coup, where it's looking like the executive branch may not listen to the judicial and the legislative branches of the US government. And that means that in such a constitutional crisis, the country may fall apart and become a monarchy, the way that Elon and Trump and Putin wanted to be. So it's a crazy time. People are going through a lot, and there's a kind of cognitive stress that many people are feeling that is by design, in order to neuter us from actually rapidly addressing these problems. And so there's no good solution. There's no good way forward. And by the way, on top of this, unlike most citizens that are happily employed and working one job and able to focus on one thing, I have a small business that's not making me enough money to make a living right now. I basically built an asset that needs more and more work to turn over a profit and pay for all of its expenses. I'm living over here in sunny Europe, and I'm also contemplating to participate in protecting democracy as a U.S. citizen. It's also my civic duty to protect Ukraine as a Ukrainian. And also, if I'm gonna try to make money, I have the bike app and I have a personal other half of the business that deals with design consultancy and development that I call Seven Studio, because my name is Seven. So should I work on that? And then if I work on that, should that be yet another social media channel that I somehow maintain in addition to this one for Nukeout for Seven and my other one, Sprocket for my bike app? Because then it almost becomes like too many social media channels. Then I won't be able to do much of anything other than just do social media all day. And I don't want to be caught in that trap. So it's a complex situation. It feels like, I'm standing on several icebergs that are floating apart in different directions, trying to figure out what the state of the world is and which way it's going. And by the way, the one thing that makes quintessentially monarchies and dictatorships so hated and so inefficient is the unpredictable environment that they create for entrepreneurship or small business owners. So yeah, we're in that exact situation where they've done that exact thing, and I'm now stuck trying to figure out how I'm going to chart my way through this unpredictable world. Because none of the decisions that I'm looking at look good. If I invest in my business, is my business going to be able to continue to operate in 6 months to 12 months? If I sink my time further into trying to let people know what's happening with US democracy and trying to prevent a fascist takeover, am I going to create a situation where we have that takeover take place anyway, and then I've wasted essentially that time? So everything is a calculated risk now. And if I work, to secure a job, if I find a job in the US and I work remote, let's say, and a fascist government takes over, do I want to continue contributing to that job? Do I want to continue to pay those taxes? I'm not sure. I don't know. It depends on how bad it gets. And I think that's the kind of the crux of it that I'm kind of not sure what to do with is I have a small business I can keep doing. I have another small business I can start up. I have a job that I could get, and I have a political situation that I need to spend time dealing with. And all of this requires time, money, and attention. And I definitely don't have time, money, and attention for all of this. So it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one for all of these reasons. And now that I've said it, I think at the same time, I've always wanted to have a news channel. I've kind of thought about having something called Singularity News and just talking about factual news and somehow having some technology behind it that shows that it's authenticated in a way that's non-biased. I think there's an app out called Ground News that I'm constantly seeing in ads that does something similar. So maybe having a social media presence where I'm like remixing and reposting other people's news on what Trump is trying to do to our democracy makes sense. But even then, you have the problem of, okay, so if I'm doing that with this channel, but I need to also use this channel to promote my own design and development consultancy business, Seventh Studio, is that going to get lost in the message by having all this political stuff on the same account? And if I separate them, is that going to be too much of a... Way too many dogs here on this street. There's another one over there. Yeah. Hey dogs. Very loud barking. I'm being all barked. So okay. So if I do that, then how do I do that? How do I balance that? Talking about politics and talking about my business at the same time, and trying to get customers. Or should I even bother doing that on social media and just do that through LinkedIn? Yeah, and I think another thing that has been on my mind is, with the limited amount of capital that I have, is it high risk for me to go and try to round up customers again and do it freelance and pay my team with this freelance work and try to get them to work on these freelance projects versus trying to go through interviews and find an actual job at a corporation somewhere, preferably remote, where I get a guaranteed income and a stable income at this point. Because freelancing is really hard. You have clients that underpay you, clients that overwork you. Sometimes you have the opposite problem where you have work that stacks up and you get too many clients and too much work simultaneously. And my whole New Year's resolution this year was supposed to be to not take on too many projects and to not have mega projects. Even within just a Sprocket Bicycle Marketplace, I have way too many things happening concurrently. And outside of it, you just you have taxes, you have my wife has a health emergency, so on and so forth, dealing with the government here in the European Union over various bureaucratic things. All these things take time and attention, so just so you understand, I'm contemplating piling more onto this, and then the result that I anticipate is I'm going to be even worse at doing any one thing well, and I'm going to be doing them all terribly and dropping the ball on everything much more than I am already with how taxed I am. So like I don't I'm live streaming this admission. I don't know which way to go and how to think through this right now. And it may be that, you know, having talked to you guys for just a little bit, it may be that I do continue this channel for political stuff for at least another 6 months to help with the democratic situation in the United States, and that I go through and do run my small business venture, and I do that through LinkedIn. And it may be that when I run my small business thing through LinkedIn, I can do something to verify whether it's viable or not by just sending out a bunch of DMs and seeing if any customers respond who may need graphic design or UI UX design or developer services of all kinds for web, iOS, Android, AI, whatever, and like see what kind of businesses I can round up. And if I can round something up, maybe I can put some of those on pause or on hold and say I'm too busy, but at least it would prove to me that this is the direction that I can go in. But again, like just a DM, just so you understand, to DM like 3,000 contacts is going to take me a substantial amount of time. It's going to take me a couple days to do that. And if I do that, I better be able to round up enough money in a short period of time to just be able to meet basic needs like food and rent and everything else, because I only have myself to count on over here in Europe. But by the same measure, like when you look at how much European companies pay per year, it's something like around here like 60K a year. So freelancing with my business, if I can make it work, now that I'm thinking through it, actually this has been really helpful, just to live stream and talk at you and get it out of my head and think through the things that have been kind of percolating in my mind. If I can round up enough business that it's more than 60K worth of business within 1 year, that's actually more lucrative than working for people on location and showing up to the office in the European Union, right? Because I think I could probably pull that together. I don't know, but I could basically prove to myself if that's true or not through LinkedIn. So yeah, maybe I will do that. And at least for the short term, I can keep my Instagram and YouTube to be more like pro-democracy. And maybe my customers will appreciate that. Maybe the people that want to hire me for design and development to help them with their software and their art needs are the kind of people that would appreciate seeing some sane posts on my personal account that are also promoting democratic values and liberal values and anti-monarchy values and anti-dictatorial values, anti-Holocaust values, all that baseline good foundational stuff. Let's see. Yeah, but it's an incredibly scary and stressful time for everyone, like I've said before, and I'm hoping that both the United States and Europe are able to find a way out of it without having to compromise with the people that want to murder, torture, and rape them. And I hope that it's going to be this interesting period in the end where we look back on it and we say, oh, it was obvious that, Elon and Trump were these morons in the White House that were trying to take over the democracy, but the brave people were always going to stand up to them and peacefully protest and get them out of the White House. And, how would you even consider that this was an unknown outcome at the time? It was so clear, but it isn't clear. And right now, it is kind of this stress on my life. And I didn't ask for, I don't need. And, it would have been easier if I had more savings to get through this period, but I'm an entrepreneur. What can I say? I, decided a long time ago that I wanted to help fix the world and help fix climate change, so I started a bicycle app. And this bicycle app has been taking the majority of my time and the majority of my capital. And now it needs even more time and even more capital. And so the question is how I'm going to get that and how I'm going to survive in the meantime so that I can also defend democracy and all these other things that I feel that I'm duty bound to do as a person on this earth who has certain responsibilities to certain other groups of people. And yep, it's not clear, but nothing in life is clear, and we do what we can to the best of our ability. And yeah, in this case, I guess thanks for helping me think through it. So there will be my LinkedIn profile that's going to be helping me run the business. There will be my Sprocket social media accounts that are going to be helping me run the business for my asset that I built. And there's going to be these 7/Nukeout social media profiles advocating for democracy. And I guess for the time being, that's just how it's going to have to be. All right. There's a sunset. I know you can't really see it. Does that work? Oh, you can kind of focus on things. But I guess I'll see you on another live stream. This was helpful. And always remember to vote. So